dead, slay such a one on another day, and so reward his ugly talk. If thou farest by the way whereas bide evil things, be well ware of thyself. Take not harbour near the highway, though thou be benighted, for oft abide there ill wights for men's bewilderment. Let not fair women beguile thee, such as thou mayest meet at the feast, so that the thought thereof stand thee instead of sleep and a quiet mind, yea, draw them not to thee with kisses, or other sweet things of love. If thou hearest the fool's word of a drunken man, strive not with him, being drunk with drink and witless. Many a grief, yea, and the very death, groweth from out such things. Fight thy foes in the field, nor be burnt in thine house. Never swear thou wrongsome oath, great and grim is the reward for the breaking of plighted troth. Give kind heed to dead men, sick dead, sea dead, or sword dead. Deal heedfully with their dead corpses. Trow never in him for whom thou hast slain father, brother, or whatso near kin, yea, though young he be, for oft waxes wolf in youngling. Look thou with good heed to the wiles of thy friends. But little skill is given to me that I should foresee the ways of thy life, yet good it were that hate fell not on thee from those of thy wife's house. Sigurd spake. None among the sons of men can be found wiser than thou, and thereby swear I, that thee will I have as my own, for near to my heart thou liest. She answers, Thee would I fainest choose, though I had all men's sons to choose from. And thereto they plighted troth, both of them. Chapter 22. Now Sigurd rides away. Many-folded is his shield, and blazing with red gold, and the image of a dragon is drawn thereon, and this same was dark brown above, and bright red below. And with even such like image was adorned helm, and saddle, and coat armour. And he was clad in the golden byrnie, and all his weapons were gold wrought. Now for this cause was the drake drawn on all his weapons, that when he was seen of men, all folk might know who went there, yea, all those who had heard of his slayings of that great dragon that the Vairings call Fafnir. And for that cause are his weapons gold wrought and brown of hue, and that he was by far above other men in courtesy and goodly manners, and well nigh in all things else. And whenas folk tell of all the mightiest champions and the noblest chiefs, then ever is he named the foremost. And his name goes wide about on all tongues north of the sea of the Greek lands, and even so shall it be while the world endures. Now the hair of this Sigurd was golden red of hue, fair of fashion, and falling down in great locks. Thick and short was his beard, and of no other colour. High-nosed he was, broad and high-boned of face. So keen were his eyes that few durst gaze up under the brows of him. His shoulders were as broad to look on as the shoulders of two. Most duly was his body fashioned betwixt height and breadth, and in such wise as was seemliest. And this is the sign told of his height, that when he was girt with his sword Gram, which same was 7 spans long, as he went through the full-grown rye fields, the dew-shoe of the said sword smote the ears of the standing corn. And for all that, greater was his strength than his growth. Well could he wield sword, and cast forth spear, shoot shaft, and hold shield, bend bow, back horse, and do all the goodly deeds that he learned in his youth's days. Wise he was to know things yet undone, and the voice of all fowls he knew, wherefore few things fell on him unawares. Of many words he was, and so fair of speech withal, that whensoever he made it his business to speak, he never left speaking, before that to all men it seemed full sure that no otherwise must the matter be than as he said. His sport and pleasure it was to give aid to his own folk, and to prove himself in mighty matters, to take wealth from his unfriends, and give the same to his friends. Never did he lose heart, and of naught was he adrad. Chapter 23. Forth Sigurd rides, till he comes to a great and goodly dwelling, the lord whereof was a mighty chief called Hamir. He had to wife a sister of Brynhild, who was hight Beckhild, because she had bidden at home, and learned handicraft, whereas Brynhild fared with helm and byrnie unto the wars, wherefore was she called Brynhild. Hamir and Beckhild had a son called Alsvidr, the most courteous of men. Now at this stead were men disporting them abroad. But when they see the man riding thereto, they leave their play to wonder at him, for none such had they ever seen erst. So they went to meet him, and gave him good welcome. Alsvidr bade him abide and have such things at his hands as he would, and he takes his bidding blithesomely. Due service withal was established for him. 4 men bore the treasure of gold from off the horse, and the 5th took it to him to guard the same. Therein were many things to behold, things of great price and seldom seen, and great game and joy men had to look on byrnies and helms, and mighty rings, and wondrous great golden stoops, and all kinds of war weapons. So there dwelt Sigurd long in great honour holden, and tidings of that deed of fame spread wide through all lands, of how he had slain that hideous and fearful dragon. So good joyaunce they had there together, and each was leal to other, and their sport was in the arraying of their weapons, and the shafting of their arrows, and the flying of their falcons. Chapter 24. In those days came home to Hamir Brynhild, his foster daughter. And she sat in her bower with her maidens, and could more skill in handicraft than other women. She sat, overlaying cloth with gold, and sewing therein the great deeds which Sigurd had wrought, the slaying of the worm, and the taking of the wealth of him, and the death of Regin withal. Now tells the tale that on a day Sigurd rode into the wood with hawk and hound and men thronging. And whenas he came home, his hawk flew up to a high tower and sat him down on a certain window. Then fared Sigurd after his hawk, and he saw where sat a fair woman, and knew that it was Brynhild. And he deems all things he sees there to be worthy together, both her fairness and the fair things she wrought. And therewith he goes into the hall, but has no more joyaunce in the games of the menfolk. Then spake Alsvidr, Why art thou so bare of bliss? This manner of thine grieveth us thy friends. Why then wilt thou not hold to thy gleesome ways? Lo, thy hawks pine now, and thy horse Grani droops, and long will it be ere we are booted thereof? Sigurd answered, Good friend, hearken to what lies on my mind. For my hawk flew up into a certain tower, and when I came thereto and took him, lo, there I saw a fair woman, and she sat by a needlework of gold, and did thereon my deeds that are past, and my deeds that are to come. Then said Alsvidr, Thou hast seen Brynhild, Budli's daughter, the greatest of great women. Yea, verily, said Sigurd, but how came she hither? Alsvidr answered, Short space there was betwixt the coming hither of the twain of you. Says Sigurd, Yea, but a few days agone I knew her for the best of the world's women. Alsvidr said, Give not all thine heed to one woman, being such a man as thou art. Ill life, to sit lamenting for what we may not have. I shall go meet her, says Sigurd, and get from her love like my love, and give her a gold ring in token thereof. Alsvidr answered, None has ever yet been known whom she would let sit beside her, or to whom she would give drink, for ever will she hold to warfare and to the winning of all kinds of fame. Sigurd said, we know not for sure whether she will give us answer or not, or grant